But it should also equally disturb us that a Prime Minister is unable to face the media and is curtailing the media at a time when he cannot answer questions about Coulson and other people that he hired in the Houses of Commons and refuses to go to the Houses of Commons. So if David Cameron is frightened of Rupert Murdoch, there will be no democratic accountability. Instead, it's gone to the Competition Commission to sort out over a year, and so they may be pouring water on this thing, on the subject of Andy Coulson, which is the link between David Cameron and Rupert Murdoch's organisation, Andy Coulson being the former editor of the News of the World. Now, this doesn't just involve British papers, right, such as the Times, the Sunday Times, the News of the World, the Sun, now the Sun on Sunday, which is just a change of titles from the News of the World. The content will be the similar or the same. These are still mouthpieces for the Murdock News Corp empire, and they must be silenced if it comes to fruition that there is criminal investigations which are at the moment ongoing, right? When the police, and this is the real big story of today, have said that corrupt officers and corrupt news media reporters paid for stories, and they are extremely unhappy with News Corp on this subject. That's the Metropolitan Police. This goes further than that even. It goes further to Fox News in the United States, which is part owned by Israelis and Saudi Arabian lobbies. This has got to do with the entire neocon agenda of Fox News in America and other organisations linked to the Murdock Empire. News Corp itself is in the process of trying to buy Sky B, the British version of Sky Broadcasting, and this itself puts the Sky News, which is Fox News in Britain, for those Americans watching, under threat. The whole thing, the whole edifice is unravelling because of the illegal actions of News Corp in phone hacking, which has been illegal since 1998. Other things may be at jeopardy because of this. The whole Republican media machine in the United States, the whole Conservative Party, is tainted by Rupert Murdoch, and thus there needs to be a political wall built around him to isolate him away from those Conservatives and Republicans who did not do anything illegal. These questions also should be asked about whether there are Conservative MPs who directly benefited from News Corp's favourable reporting of them, and also whether they were paid to make questions on behalf of Rupert Murdoch. Now, in the United States, cash for questions is not illegal. In fact, the system has become so corrupt that it's actually been endorsed by people being able to go and have dinners, paid dinners with between politicians and the media, and money changes hands frequently. But we are Europeans, we are British, we are English. This is not to us fair play or good moral standards. We believe in the rules of cricket, to use a euphemism. To us, it stinks of corruption. It stinks of crime. Let's call it what it is. If it was a conspiracy, or it is a conspiracy, the only question is on what level and how high it goes. Does it go to the director of News Corp himself, or the chief executive, Rupert Murdoch? Does it? That's the question of this video. But we also must look at our own Israeli lobby, which is in Great Britain, and others who may have influence through the media network of Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch himself is a powerful man in business, but aside from that, he is at the whim of other powers which are greater and more violent and more extreme than him, which are out there. Organised crime organisations which have great reach and depth to them. So he is not somebody who's unassailable by the powers that be. He's not unassailable by the government. The government should perhaps think of using MI5 to tap his phone and see how he likes it. You know, this guy is possibly being responsible for his media reporting in a biased way towards the Conservative Party, a pro-biased way to the Conservative Party, responsible for what is in effect a coup. Not a coup d'etat, but a coup, a media coup on us during the last election. Now, Alistair Campbell said we lost that. Labour lost that election. The Social Democrats lost that election because of mishandlings of certain aspects of government, and the Labour Party had been in power for a long time. But I'm not making excuses for them. They were close to Murdoch as well. Tony Blair especially. But the way that Murdoch turned on Gordon Brown, and the vicious way that his medical records of his son, who was ill at the time, and is probably still ill, and also his phone was hacked, his bank accounts and building society accounts were hacked into under false pretences, is sickening. It is a direct challenge to the government and the state. This is exactly what I was talking about in my previous video on pan-European nationalism and social democracy, about the interests of corporations overriding those of the state and taking away the rights of individuals to privacy, which should be something that, unless you've done a crime, should be guaranteed by law. You know, now it's completely reversed, morally speaking, because the media and Rupert Murdoch are supposed to have privacy, even though they possibly have done crimes. Certainly, Andy Coulson and others have been arrested on the suspicion of crimes. But this could lead us all to a very murky place. Previous governments, and particularly Conservative governments, have tried to clamp down on the media, particularly those on the left, such as The Guardian, who have been trying to expose this phone hacking since 2007, who have been victims of it themselves. Their chief editor's phone was hacked. How far does it go? Does it go not only to the families of servicemen who have been killed, but the military itself? If that is proven to be the case, then it would be a coup d'etat in the general election. Cameron is set on a similar political ideology to Murdoch, which they are very close together. He is friends with the editor of the present or former News of the World. He's in the process of privatising our health service so foreign companies can come in and run our health services, and not only our health services but our security services, our judiciary, and all of this has been buried under the News of the World story. You should pay careful attention to the media when big stories such as this come out, because it's a good time, ironically, as a Labour Party member said, to bury bad news. And that was in relation to the Gulf War on September the 11th, on two different occasions. This is the cynical way that people in the media and politics think about us, the general public. But we are a great general public, a great British public, and we should be looking very carefully at the media and seeing which way we're being tried to be persuaded, let me say that. Because the left-right schism is an easy way for people to be divided and to come to conclusions which they did not themselves make. To come to conclusions which you've looked at through rational inquiry.